Okay, good.
Oh man. And Marybeth has the best laugh in the business.
Love it. Just working on the live. The dashboard did come up this week, which is awesome. So we will be able to live stream simultaneously to Facebook.
Wonderful.
And
look at Dollar, she's so scared of me. He's a stranger.
Okay, so just waiting on the official statement from Facebook. Oh, it looks like we are live. So hello and welcome everyone. My name is Jessica Morrison, Realtor with Ferris Property Group. I have the honor of talking with Beazer Homes tonight, and specifically Leigh-Brooke Mckinniss with the Hampshire community, and Marybeth Loomis. Dang it. Despite practicing, I still got it wrong. Marybeth Loomis, right?
Hello, yes.
Okay, third time's a charm. And she is with the new and upcoming community, West Rail, at the station. So we are going to turn it over first to Leigh-Brooke to talk about Hampshire. So thank you, both of you, for being here tonight. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you having us. So I am out at Hampshire, which is in Zionsville. We are on the corner of East 400 South and then South 800 East, which is a rural setting. I've been out there a couple different times, total of about 2.5 years together, and we are down to basically being in closeout. So we just have a handful of home sites left, so it's been really exciting. We've sold nearly 50 homes in the last 12 months. Yeah, 12 months. So it's been crazy, a lot of fun. I don't know what else you'd like me to kind of give you a snapshot of.
Sorry, I muted myself, so no wonder you couldn't hear me. So let's talk a little bit with Hampshire. What makes that community special? Because that is in Zionsville, and can you kind of go over how many home sites are in that community and what type of amenities are offered compared to maybe some other neighborhoods in Zionsville right now for new builds?
Sure, absolutely. Well, we are one of only 2 communities that I'm aware of that are new build in Zionsville right now. So Hampshire is actually a master community, which you don't have a ton of that. You've seen it kind of come into the market now, but you don't have a ton of communities that was developed by one builder and then it's shared with a couple other ones. So we're out there with 2 other builders. We have a total of 300 home sites, but we only occupy 100 of those home sites. What has been amazing for us is that we are in Zionsville proper, so we're K through 12 Zionsville schools, and then we're also the lowest price point in Zionsville, I don't know, for probably years. So Zionsville has done a really good job of protecting its environment, wanting to kind of keep it small town feeling. So when we came in, like as you drive through the community, you'll notice there's tons of space, there's tons of green space. You don't really feel like you're just like driving into a neighborhood that's house after house after house. So that's one thing that everyone loves and always kind of points out on their own. For example, even like our final section is just its own little hub of 25 home sites, and it's just 2 cul-de-sacs. Yeah, it feels very rural. Like we literally are surrounded by cornfields. When I first was out there, people would like take their horses through the community. So it's still kind of keeps that quaint charm that people still love. But you are still super conveniently located. You literally are 6 minutes away from like Meyer, which is in the Whitestown area, or like 465 exit, and then you're about an 8-minute drive to downtown to the Village. So it's situated really nicely.
Excellent. So. And do you guys, I mean, you mentioned, I think a park-like setting. Do you have a pool? What kind of amenities are shared with the other builders?
Yeah, so we actually have really awesome amenities. We have 2 pools. So we have more of like an adult style pool and then a kiddie pool. We have over 5 miles of walking trails. And our trail will actually be connected to the rail trail, which will take you downtown Zionsville once the project is complete. And then we have 17 acres of woods and our trail cut through that. So like, it's literally like winding trails. And then we've got bocce ball, pickleball. We have a basketball court. We have a really cool kind of community sitting area with a fire pit. And then we have a playground as well. So gorgeous.
That's a lot. And
Yeah.
what do you get? I mean, so typically when I hear all of that, there's usually a high HOA fee associated with that. So is it a monthly HOA fee? And how much is it a year?
It's $800 a year, and you pay that 400 chunks biannually.
Wow.
So it's not terrible. I mean, it's very, very reasonable.
Yeah, for compared to some others that are out there for the money, it's a lot of times you just get the neighborhood insurance and some snow removal, and you know, I don't know. It seems like more and more with new construction, you get lucky if you can find one with a pool. So it's nice that in the last few years that you guys chose to develop that community, that you added a pool. Do you see Beazer adding pools in other new home communities that you will be putting on the market?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to answer that.
I think it depends on, you know, what the market is and where it is. In West Rail, we're very similar communities with Hampshire. We've been there about 3 years, I think now, a little over 3 years.
Yeah, you guys
The
are just
community's
bigger.
been open. Yeah, we're just a little bit larger. So the plan, we have actually 4 sections. So we have sold out in sections 1 and just sold out in section 2. And we are pre-selling in our section 3. We sold 9 prior to us even having streets in there. So it's a great community. We are actually located right off 161st Street in Spring Mill. And we are really nestled. It is a country setting too, similar to Hampshire. So we're really nestled between State Road 32 and Highway 31. So it's quiet. We have larger lots as well. We're going to have about 180 home sites total when we're finished. The section 3 that we're starting to open and starting to pre-sell in already, we have about 44 home sites in there, and it is park-like, very similar to Hampshire. So we've got lake lots, we've got common area lots, we've got cul-de-sacs. So there's very similar home sites and developments in both of the areas. Now we have a pool as well. We have just opened this year on July 4th, actually. And we also have a basketball court in the playground area and 11 acres of green space and walking trails through the community.
That's excellent.
Yeah, I think your highlight reel though, for sure, is they are literally right beside Shamrock Springs Elementary School.
Yes.
So you could walk your kiddos to school, and if they're not in school yet, on the other side of the school is it Rainbow Daycare?
Rainbow Daycare, correct.
And then to me, this is a huge selling point. Like not even 2 minutes from Kroger.
Oh yeah, right
they
down
have a
the
Mexican
street.
Restaurant like right there.
Yeah, Kroger's right there, gas station, CVS.
Is there
Bang,
Starbucks?
Starbucks is in there.
So
we're literally
like
walking distance because a lot of the homeowners actually will walk down there. And one nice thing about the Shamrock, you mentioned the school, is the school and Beazer actually kind of got together and we chatted about, are we ever going to connect to a sidewalk where the kids could walk to school? And we did do that. So yeah,
I love it.
It's great.
So how many different floor plans do clients have to choose from? And I also want to circle back to lots really quick. Do you guys have a minimum lot size in each community?
I think that's a good question.
It is a good question. I think in my community, it's a quarter of an acre, and it goes up to, I think we've had half an acre.
Most of them, I think at minimum are like 0.23 at the smallest. And then we've got one that I think is maybe around 0.4 left. The big ones usually always go pretty quickly. So, and then most of our lots are going to be a minimum of 65 foot wide.
Right.
At Hampshire, they're a little bit wider just because signs will require that we have more space between the homes. So for us, it's going to be a minimum, I believe, of 75 feet.
Okay.
As far as the width of the home side.
And Jessica, we do actually have an HOA in our community too, with our pool. It's $650 for the year. And I want to touch, that's important because there are a lot of other communities around us, new home builds, that do not have a pool in their community, and their HOAs are a lot higher. So if they want to be in those communities, they have to drive to get to the pool, where we can just, you know, walk to the pool and stuff like that. So that's an important feature for us in West Rail.
Yeah, I think now more than ever too,
Yes.
where people are trying to stay closer to home. So
Yeah, I mean, your kids could literally come home and on their way home from school, you know, jump in the pool if they wanted to.
probably really cute seeing them marching.
Yeah.
Their backpacks are bigger than their bodies.
Let's go to the pool.
I love it. So do you happen to know, and this is kind of putting you on the spot, but do either of you happen to know how Beazer is able to offer a lower HOA amenity like that while still offering a pool? Because your competition, I mean, we don't like the word competition when we're talking about different partners in the area, but it is, you know, if someone's going to choose your community over someone else and they're offering a fairly similar concept, how do you happen to know those discussions for finances, like how Beazer is able to pull that off with offering a lower fee versus?
No, but now I'm like, I gotta send this out because I'm missing the selling point here.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure. I'm sure it has something to do with just the overall development
Of the
cost.
land and the cost and stuff
Yeah.
like that as well. I know we share actually a community with another builder that does not have a pool and stuff, and their HOA is actually higher than ours.
Yeah, and they have to drive by your pool and be safe.
So I don't know how the cost, that's got to be land development.
I'm not sure. Sorry.
I'm just an insanely curious person, so it came up in my mind while you were talking, but it's okay that you don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one for down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back to, so let's say someone is looking at that specific area for West Rail at the station, or possibly Hampshire with new construction options that are available to them. I mean, sometimes production builders get a bad rap, but how do you guys go about the building process as a builder and helping clients, even though it's not a custom home experience? How do you, maybe in the number of floor plans that clients have to choose from, allow that customer to feel like that it's still going to be personalized to their tastes?
You want me to do this one? We're both like, we know. Yeah, so you're right. I mean, we're a production builder, so we're not going to sit there and let people draw their floor paint plans. But we do, as a builder, offer something that's really unique. So we have choice plans. So even though you have the same footprint of every home, you get to choose based off of your preference,
how you live in the home,
how you plan on using the home. You can choose the style of kitchen that you want. So for example, if you want, you know, the sink in the island and you want the island to be facing into the living room, we've kind of taken into account that's more like an entertainer's kitchen. So that's an option. Or you can choose a kitchen that's a little bit more classic, where you have the large island for, you know, buffet style or sitting there and eating. And then you got, you know, your kind of classic sink under the window. So you can wash dishes and look outside or whatever. But we offer that as choice plans, and we do that at no additional cost. So they're able to do that in their kitchen. They're able to do that in their primary bathroom. So they can choose from a large, nice tub with a smaller shower. They can do one of the spa showers. Again, no additional cost. And then in most plans, they have the option between either a formal dining room and a study. So a lot of builders are going to charge you for those different, I guess, customizing your home, and we don't.
Yeah, and some of the new plans that we both sell now, they also allow, they do come with a study. We also allow a retreat with a full bath down option and extra bathrooms upstairs. So we do allow you to pick and choose how you live in the home, because we don't know how you live in the home. You know, I mean,
No,
I don't know how you live in your home. But I mean, so we've taken that step further to really listen to what our clients are needing and wanting, especially this year. It's been a very challenging year for a lot of families. Needing extra rooms for schooling and, you know, separate areas.
Having
So
to study.
having to study, but people are working from home as well. So I think we've done a great job rolling out the 4 new plans in our neighborhoods to accommodate
And
what they need.
I think the truth is too, is that, you know, these are floor plans that they're proven, you know, they're tested. We know where people want to make changes. And beyond that, like most people, I don't really run into people being like, well, can we do this or that or the other? Most people are pretty satisfied with what they can do. And the fact that we don't charge them to make those changes, I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's usually a pretty good wow moment for people.
And plus our design center. We also, what we do in our communities is we go through the home sites, the structural, you know, things like that. We do have a separate design center, and we have for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, our
It's a
designer's
good
been with us, you know, almost 17 years. So they get to go there and pick out, you know, whatever, again, suits their needs as far as color choices and style.
Cabinets, tiles. So there's no like, you have to have this or that. It's meant to where you go in and you feel like even though you aren't maybe doing a custom home, you're still customizing it and you're completely making it your own.
Yeah.
So choice is huge for Beazer. We are not trying to overwhelm people with choice, but we know that when you're spending your hard-earned money, you want to have some choices.
Some options.
So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, it was a very robust answer. I love it. How long have you both been with Beazer?
5 years, total of 5 years.
Total of 5, and I've been 3 years last month.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you both have been there for a decade or more.
We're very good at what we do. And we've been partners in the community.
Yeah, we
at
worked
West Rail,
at West Rail for a while. Yeah.
That's great.
We're like kind of the same person.
Well, and you know, we sell a lot of the same product, obviously. I mean, I think I have one ranch in my community that you don't
That I
sell
don't
now,
have.
but you have one that I don't sell. So, and we're close enough that if we basically have the same demographic of clientele coming in, so we, you know, kind of tag team. And if, you know, she has a client that, you know, wants something that I have, and I have, you know, something that she has better fit in her neighborhood, then, you know, we help each other out that way.
Well, these are people's homes. At the end of the day, yes, this is what we do for a living. Absolutely. Like, we sell homes. But, I mean, these are also, like, where people are making memories and happy things are happening and sad things are happening. And so I don't know, or I think we're really passionate about people. So that's what makes our job fun.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious, because of COVID, you guys had your designated floor plans for each community. There was some overlap. As you said, there's some that you don't have that are shared between the two. But how have you seen COVID shape some of the choices that buyers are making when they come in to build a new home?
That's a good question. I mean, I think for us, or at least for myself in Hampshire, we already kind of had the buyer that had the opportunity to work from home. So I think these are either got it right from the get-go, you know, sometimes, you know, I don't know if it was hindsight's 2020 or what, but most people, the plans just already have been working, and they've been able to just, if they weren't working from home all the time, they've been able to just integrate completely into their home. So like I said, I mean, most people are picking study options to begin with. All of our plans have, as far as the 2 stories, have huge lofts. So, I mean, there's been kind of that secondary area that could be used for schooling. So I think if anything, what COVID has done is it's solidified the choices that people have already made. Like, I've received text messages from people like, I'm so thankful that we chose the study option because like, here's a picture of my kiddos schooling. Like, this is where they go to school every day. Like, we're so grateful that we had that choice. So I think for us, it just kind of almost solidified that our plans
do work. And we do a lot of research on, you know, what people are needing. I mean, we're constantly looking at, you know, the innovation and asking our clients what they need in their home. And when those options aren't chosen often, like Beazer's like, let's stop offering it. Like, it doesn't make sense to offer something that somebody doesn't want.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, yeah, high five. I think we've it's just
Narrowed
made
down.
people appreciate every inch of their home and that it makes sense from the get-go.
Yeah, exactly. I think the pain points that homeowners had before COVID hit have been felt even further. And I think that that's propelled many to sell if they are financially able to afford to move.
Correct.
I'd love to know for your communities, I have a building theory that internet providers are going to subtly direct where people settle, or it might be a determining factor that could cause buyers to choose to not move forward on a particular home if the internet quality does not have the option for something like fiber optic cable. So have you, for one, for each community, how does internet look? And then secondly, have you had many buyers come through and ask about that?
Again, I think for me, that was a pretty common question because, again, I think the people that I'm selling to have the opportunity to have more of a flexible work schedule and have already been considering working from home. But yeah, hands down, especially now, since March and that to now, everyone's asking that.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're a little conspiracy theorist over here. She's like, I have a feeling. But yeah, absolutely. Which is, I guess I'll segue. Well, do you want to do it? Sorry.
No, I'm good.
I'm chatty.
You're fine.
So one thing that we are doing new that actually is like
Just
brand
rolled
new
out
is
Monday.
all of our homes are network ready. So what that means is we've identified in each home where we should put that kind of smart panel where all the wiring will be through the home for your internet. So it's kind of address like where's the best place for your Wi-Fi hub to be going. And then we have 3 different drop zones throughout the house where you can literally have all those cords again hidden throughout the home. So like Spectrum, for example, which does a lot of our homes, they can come in and put all those wires in the house, and they get 3 of those spots for free. They go to obviously like your best places you'd want them, the great room, loft, and I believe the primary bedroom. And then study. And then what else did they get, Marybeth?
No, you take it.
Then everyone gets 5 days of free internet from the day of closing. So if they haven't buttoned everything up or they're still shopping around for their internet provider, so for in my case, there's a couple different options, then they don't have to worry about any lull in time. They're going to have at least 5 days of internet on Beazer.
Yeah.
So
that might not actually be a good thing, because I've heard I've heard one family say that their strategy whenever they move is that they specifically don't allow themselves to have internet for 3 days because it forces them to unpack.
Yeah, there you go.
But yes, that is a really great offer. Obviously, if you're working from home, that's not always practical to go without. But yes, for those of you who haven't had to move yet, internet providers are typically a week to 10 days out from pre-COVID. That might be different now, but you typically want to schedule that well in advance to have that connection converted over to your new home, because it's definitely a wait. So it's nice that Beazer offers that right away.
And one thing, Jessica, I'll just touch on briefly that Beazer does do different than a lot of the other home builders, I guess I should say, in the area, is that they know pretty much when their closing is going to be. We update them every single Monday. We have a community meeting with myself and my partner, the builder, and then somebody usually from our home office or the management team comes and joins us. And every single Monday, we go over every home in the neighborhood that's under contract. We see what's going on that week and what's coming up the week before, and then we call and email all of our homeowners. So they do have time when we get down to closing to actually set a lot of these things up to make that transition a lot easier for the family when they move in. So they'll have their internet scheduled. If we give them 5 days, then they can come out during that time. I had a homeowner just move in this week that's what happened. They knew exactly, when they were going to be moving in. The internet was there the next day, but yet they still had a cushion of a couple days to prepare for that. So that's very important to us. Communication is huge. They also have the builder's email and cell phone. And so the client is able to contact them directly too if they have a question. So we're very hands-on, almost, I would say more so like a custom,
I
than
say
a
we
normal.
probably over communicate.
We do.
Anything.
Yeah, than a normal production where people may think, well, it's just they're going to do their thing.
Well, and then, like we get excited when we see houses being built, or like, we walk every house. What did they choose? We want to see what tile they picked last. So we're snapping pictures, we're sending texts. Oh my God, we love your tile, or oh, they have a wall up or whatever. So yeah, I mean, the customer experience is, and then I know that's probably maybe a cliche thing, but like
Extremely
it is hands down beyond just obviously like quality and durability and people living comfortably in their home. Like, it's not just about, what is this going to make Beazer look like in the end? It's literally like, how happy will these people be about their home? And that's like nonstop, every day discussed.
That's
which
very important.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. We went on a rant. We went on a tangent. We got excited.
No, I love it. I think it's important to talk about, or it's great to see, especially, I know Beazer's probably loving this right now with how passionate you guys are. I know if you guys were working for me and it was my company and, having that type of zest and enthusiasm, as Zig Ziglar calls it, it's important. And I think it's great that you love what you do because you will put your heart into it versus somebody who clocks in and clocks out and doesn't take that type of role seriously. Like, that is, communication is so critical, whether you're building or buying a house. Like, it's paramount. I mean, this is one of the top 10, if not the number one stressor that people will face throughout their life, is having to move. And Leigh, you hit the nail on the head earlier. Like, this is a place where people are going to have their Christmas tree and, unfortunately, like their pet might die, like these are places where significant memories happen. And so I think it's important that I love that you guys take your job as passionately as you do, because I know that the customers probably feel that and appreciate it.
Well, it's a 5 to 6 month, time frame.
It's half a year. I mean,
half a year we're spending, with our clients, and a lot of them, they become our friends. I mean, we get very involved in their lifestyle and how they live and what they like, and it's just
fun. It's super fun.
It really is.
Maybe one of the most fun things I've ever done.
It's a milestone. These are milestone, situations and that they're going through. And
I mean, it's the same thing as a realtor that I'm sure you feel. I mean, you get to meet people, you're finding out what's not working, why they're wanting to move. Sometimes they don't want to move, they have to move. So, I mean, we've definitely, with COVID, been through situations where people have had to move, and thank God they had the luxury of still having a new home. But, most people moving it's exciting, but like you said, it's stressful. So, like, I don't know, we
try to take the stress out as much as we can. And I mean, both of us, it's not a 9 to 5 job by any means. I mean, we're on.
A realtor.
No, you're right. It's the same with Jessica.
No. What's a vacation? Have you had a vacation? Have you ever not sold a home on vacation? Because if you want to sell a house, go on vacation.
Yep. Every time.
What's really rewarding to us, I mean, I know at least in West Rail, and I'm sure it's the same with you, that I'll be outside and I'll be chatting with a client, previous or new or, past, whatever. And somebody will drive by from the neighborhood and honk and wave. I mean, that's, to me, one of the biggest satisfaction. I mean, I love that.
Just pay Marybeth and honks and waves. She'll be fine.
It's just, it's not that at the time of closing, they don't just go away. They're still there, and we still see them. And I love when they come in and drop cookies off and, stop and say, how are you doing today? How's the new baby? I mean, and same with you.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
It's fun.
No, I think it's a great indirect way to show you guys showing how much you care about the people that you serve. And I can't say that that's always the case with different building opportunities. I mean, I think people try to care, but sometimes, you're just in a job, it's not the job that's meant for you, or, you know, vice versa, so to speak. So I think it's great that you guys have the enthusiasm and the stories that you are able to share. And I love the appreciation marketing component that you just illustrated, because there's an expectation that you will meet the minimum. And then if you're lucky, you'll go over that, or, you know, we always work to outserve our clients. And I think the greatest compliment outside of referrals that we can receive is when clients come back and they're like, oh, can I buy you dinner? Can I do this? And we don't necessarily want that, but it's the fact that you have created so much value that the client appreciates you in that way, that I think it's very telling that you have those stories, because it means you're good at what you do. So love it.
Good job there.
No, it's a conversation. I get excited.
It's okay.
Oh, wait, what about that?
Yeah. So we illustrated a little bit here in that last segment that you take about 5 to 6 months or so, obviously depending on the weather, to build. Is that the case? And I'd like to segue into talking about the building process with Beazer and how that's different from others in the marketplace.
Yeah, so for us, and it's going to depend on your township that you're in, how long it takes to pull permits. So for example, West Rail is faster at pulling permits in Westfield than we are in Zionsville, and you know, Fishers are going to be different too. For us, it is on a slab, so home without a basement would be 5 to 6 months. And I would definitely say, you know, the expectation is, when we say 5 to 6 months, it's probably, you know, really going to be 5 to 6 months, somewhere in that time frame. But the basement, especially going into the winter, we would say we would be looking at more like maybe 6 to 7, just depending. I mean, obviously we want to make sure our home's built right. Is that pretty much the same for you guys?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. And then what specifically did you want to know about, like the build process? Just so I understand.
I think if someone's never built with Beazer before, let's say they tour one of your model homes, they've gone on your website and picked out the floor plan, and then what's their next step look like? Let's kind of put that and help the consumer who's watching this understand what those next steps.
So what we do is, right now we're still trying to set some appointments, because we are pretty strict with you know, cleanliness and COVID and stuff like that with our models. And so, you know, they'll either come in or they'll, you know, email or reach out to us, or
they can do a self-guided tour now if they prefer.
That's right. They can even do a self-guided tour now if they prefer. So they would come in, and, you know, we would sit down and chat with them. It takes about maybe like an hour and a half or so, depending on, you know, the floor plans, the different floor plans. We try to find out what their needs are. We have 5 different floor plans in my community, at least at West Rail. So I have a ranch and then 4 2-stories. So I just kind of, you know, talk to them a little bit and find out what they're looking for, what they need in their home. And then we kind of narrow it down depending on, you know, their feedback. And then we would go take a look at the home sites and show them, you know, the options that they have there too, whether they want to be on a lake or a common area or a cul-de-sac. And then we would sit down and go through, you know, the process, I guess, if they want. We ask for the budget.
We're probably, you know, but that's definitely not our leading question.
No.
But oh, by the way, what budget do you have?
You find that out during, you know, your conversation
Discovery,
with them and discovery of it.
Yeah, so the build process for us, as far as like the time they spend with us, would be, Marybeth said, picking out your floor plan, home site. And then what we do in the office with all of our home buyers is we actually are the ones that pick out all the structural options. Right. So at the time of them deciding, yep, we're ready to go, we are going to have all those things on lock at that point. So they'll have the plan, the home site, and then any additions, so like a covered patio. Some of the plans that allow you, most of them now have 3-car garages, but some still allow you to add stuff. So things like that we would have determined. And then, you know, we do the hooray and everyone's so excited. And then from there, we're usually looking at a week to 2 weeks, maybe a little longer, just depending on sales volume for our division, to get into the design studio. So in the meantime, Like it's not like nothing's happening, but that's when the office is putting together the prints. One thing that I don't know if every production builder does is we don't work off like a master print. So every buyer has their own set of prints based off of everything that they chose. So, which I think is really cool, because then you're just, there's less mistakes. It feels much more personal.
So after they sit down with Erin at the design center, then Mike,
Yeah. So anyway, so they do the design stuff, printing, and then usually from the day of them signing a contract for us is probably about 4 weeks until they're then coming back into the sales office, sitting down with both of us, and then meeting and sitting down with their builder to do what we call the pre-construction meeting. So that's where we're going to just, remind everyone what they picked, go through the options. The builder actually takes them through all their prints, electrical prints, their plot plan, like understanding their property line, understanding their easements, just understanding how far their house setback. And then also in that meeting, most importantly, because everybody wants to know, like the number one question is, when is my house going to be done?
Yep.
So then we're going to be setting expectations in that meeting of, here's how long foundation typically takes. Here's how long framing takes. Here's how long mechanicals are going to take, up to drywall. Let's continue to set those expectations. And then as Marybeth mentioned, like we contact our buyers every Monday. Some of us even do more than that, just letting them know, like, here's what's going on in your house this week. So I feel like it's pretty involved. And then midway point of the build, so for us, if we're talking 6 months, 3 months from the day that they purchase, usually then they're walking your home for what we call a pre-drywall inspection, which is a really good opportunity for them to take pictures of what's behind the walls. Before we close everything up, they can know where studs are, they can plan, I don't know, where they want to mount TVs, whatever that looks like for them. And then it's also a good time to kind of fact check, make sure we have everything that needs to be before we just move forward. That's also a really, like it's the builder's time to shine and brag. So one thing that we do, which was for me when I decided to get into this industry, I was looking at 2 different builders, and this was the tipping point for me, is that we build all of our homes Energy Source certified. So we actually have a third-party company that does our homes twice and test the home to make sure that it passes and is up to Energy Star standards. So this is kind of like the point in the build process where the builders can kind of brag, talk about what that looks like, the materials that we use, how we achieve that with our insulation, how we seal the home. So that's kind of the builder's nerding out moment.
And we won't go on from, we can't go past, one stage, we don't pass that. If we don't pass that, so we can't go on to drywall if they don't pass that test. And then same at the end, when they close, they can't close a home unless they pass that test again.
Yeah.
So we're pretty passionate about that.
Yeah, and then really after that point, going into drywall, the house just changes like every single day. It's the most fun because there's real walls that are up, and every time they come visit, every weekend it's pretty much changed. So at the point of drywall, then we're usually about 60 days out, and then we're able to deliver their closing date, if that makes sense. So they can start making the plans for moving. We're not trying to live in like a lot of ambiguous moments like you were talking about earlier with communication. Like we want our homeowners to understand the process week by week. If it's not, it's not a month by month thing, it's a week by week thing. So they get plenty of time to plan. I feel like I just said a lot of words.
No, that's it.
Hopefully that answered your question with all of our words.
Yeah, I think, and just a heads up, I don't think that it's anything you guys can fix, but maybe hopefully in post editing we can revise it. But for some reason the audio kind of cut out, or like decreased the volume by like 50%. So I'm not sure. I think it's honestly just a signal or reception. So, but yeah.
Everyone just watched us be like,
it's okay. It did it earlier, but then it fixed itself within like 10 seconds. So I was like, okay, we're good. So hopefully it goes back. And if not, then we'll just edit it in post, as the editors like to say.
Try something real quick. Sorry, my finger's coming on the screen here.
It's okay.
Okay. Did that make it any better?
Yes, it helped.
Okay.
So I'd like to cover, I had my question and then I moved it. Sorry, the sound threw me off on what I was going to ask, but okay. So really important. And I don't think I've had a chance to ask this yet with other builders. So I'd love to hear what your policy is. One of the most common moves that you're probably going to have with clients is a client who has to sell their home in order to buy their next home. So what is your sell contingency policy?
So we give them 60 days to sell their home. It's a house to sell contingency. And we ask that within the first or second week of signing a contract that they do get it listed with a real estate agent. We need to have comps from the area and things like that. But we still go ahead with the process. So they still will be contacted by the design studio, and they still would go in and do that. Every week we have updates. We'll reach out to the realtor and get updates on how many showings have you had, and any offers, what's going on. And then really toward the end of the 60 days, before really the end of the 60 days, I mean, because we're having a weekly conversation with them and how things are going. If we haven't had any offers, if they haven't had any showings, or different situation, depending, we'll say, let's regroup. What do we want to do?
Yeah, I mean, usually if they're at day 60 in this market, then
it hasn't
the conversation is probably a little bit different.
But we want to work together. I mean, we can extend it an additional, amount of time depending on what they feel they need, or what, the realtor and the client, needs.
Yeah, I mean, once Beazer goes under contract with a buyer, we're pretty motivated to close that home. The market has been so strong lately that I personally have not done any home to sell contingencies with any of my home buyers in the last 12 months, which is amazing to be able to say that as far as market, but I know not everybody is willing to maybe either feel like they want to take on two possibilities of two home loans, or perhaps they're just worried about rolling the dice. But because the market's been so terrific, I mean, most people, the day they're selling, listing their home, it's sold.
Yep.
So
yeah, and if you've got a home on the market, it's probably priced too high, or there's something that your realtor is telling you that you need to do that you really need to do it. Because anyway,
we don't disagree with you, but we let the realtors tell people that.
Yeah.
I've had a couple house to sell contingencies, and within a day or two, the house is sold. So right now it's, they need to make a decision. I mean, they are probably going to have to move twice, and it's a little bit of a pain sometimes to do that. But my thought is, if the market's good, the interest rates are phenomenal right now. We have one of our preferred lenders is even down to a 2.6 for 30-year conventional. I mean, it's crazy. Money's free right now as far as lending goes. So I mean, my advice is, sell it, get it done. While you
check that box, get it over with. Yeah, anecdotally, I've had people wait, and they've waited because they wanted to not have the double move, and they've lost. They've gotten full price offers that they've declined because the timing didn't work out. And I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars by the time that they were able to move. So, I mean, sometimes delaying is, I understand convenience is important, and nobody wants to move once, let alone twice, but we're talking about $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in difference. Just breaks your heart to think that they missed out on that.
Or honestly, with the way that the market is nowadays, they may be waiting too long and pricing themselves out of even being into a community that they want to be in.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen that over and over again. And it's heartbreaking to us because, we want to do what's best for them, really. I mean, I have their best interest at heart.
Yeah,
and I tell them, guys, with price increases and the cost of building going up, if you're going to do it, then please do. I mean, this is a great time to buy and sell.
Yeah, I completely echo that, because it's so hard, especially when the three of us are sales professionals, and we work really hard to develop trust and provide value that I believe like, this is going to sound so controversial, but like, it's not my job to sell a house. It's to help my clients understand and to be confident in that process of purchasing or selling. And I just feel like the house will, if it's a good house, it will sell itself. Like, it is my job, yes, in a straight sense to sell the house, but I'm not going to push someone into a product that doesn't make sense for them. So when I do, or you guys, just as you've illustrated, get fanatical about that, it's because people don't always understand the bigger picture or the different nuances of the other items that are in play. Like, lumber prices have doubled, so we're going to see new construction prices reflect that. And so if you're on the fence about building, now's a great time before those price increases start to come into play. Have you guys already done your price increases because of lumber?
Yeah, I've definitely taken a couple. I mean,
Everybody is, to be
yeah,
honest
it's
with
not
you.
unique.
You know, we do a comparative market analysis every month with our other partners, and I call them partners, and other, you know, builders too, because it's a small community, and we know just
we
about
talk to each
everybody.
other.
And we talk to each other and see what's going on in, you know, their community as well as ours. And I got an email the other day from one of my partners, competitors, I guess. And he said, "Did you just take a price increase?" And I said, "Yes, we did." And he said, "We just took 10,000. So these are not just small increases that's happening. They're actually in some cases.
I feel like Beazer's trying to kind of, instead of, I can't speak on behalf of the pricing strategy, but from what I've seen in my community, it's be more, increase here, increase there, increase here. So that way we're just not, all of a sudden, I walked in your door today, and 2 weeks later, I can no longer live here, because that does happen. I mean, people tend to, we tend to like things that are always at the top of our budget. So, it's not
according to what, is going on in the market. I mean, lumber is going up. I mean, things are just.
Yeah, and there's a housing shortage, and quite frankly, a home is now a commodity. So for us to be able to build a home for someone, we think that's super valuable, and we understand the value behind that. So yeah, we've definitely seen those things.
But you're right, Jessica. I don't want to just sell somebody something just to sell it. That's not who I am or what we believe anyway. I mean, I want to help somebody find what's right for them. And if we're not that, then we're not that. But
but we have had the tough love conversations. Like, hey, look, we've been working together for a month, and
I don't want to be pushy. Like, that's not my intention, but literally here's what's going on, and we don't want you to miss out on this opportunity, because that's how we look at things. So, and again, everything's just communication. And I think too, when you speak to people in that way and you're kind and it's not truly pushy, and you've spent time with them and you understand where they're coming from and what they need, then you've earned their trust, and you've earned to be able to say, hey, look, like, right now would be the best time for you. And
really think about it.
That rarely ever comes back where someone's like, well, you're trying to push me. I mean, at that point, people understand the sincerity behind it.
Yeah, especially I think if you have a spreadsheet that outlines based on what we know right now, because we don't know the future. A lot of the pushback, 2 years ago was, well, are interest rates going to go up, or are they going to go back down? And is there going to be a recession and all of that? And it's a good question. I mean, there's definitely scripts to help people understand through each of those questions, depending on their situation, why it may or may not be a good time for them to move. But I think for your example, money talks. So if it's on paper and it is truly a good decision, or you've had other clients who can share their past experiences with what they would have done, being able to rewind the tape, which for younger people, they might not know what that reference means anymore.
Get the pencil out.
But still, it's a great discussion. So you brought up your preferred lender. Do you guys have promotions with your lender partner, or types of design credits that you offer to clients who are considering making a build?
Every community has a different promotion, typically, depending on what product they sell in the community. So like this month, for example, my promotion is $7,500 in free design upgrades. So they can basically go to the design center and put their gourmet kitchen in, or add extra, flooring, if they want to do that, or whatever they want to do. It's up to them. Our preferred lenders, we have 3 preferred lenders that we have used, and that's really, we're offering, I think it's 1,500
yeah.
right now. If they choose to go, again, it's choice, if they choose to go with one of our preferred lenders. And they're all very competitive right now. And it's really an easy thing for the client, to be quite honest with you. I think we all have stories of some that are not as easy in the mortgage process and some that are. But it really does give the clients peace of mind. We get weekly updates from our preferred lenders on, the process of the loan. We're very hands-on with them if they choose to go with us.
Yeah, and these are actually lenders that are vetted through our corporate office. So like, we're talking like 4-hour-long interviews. I mean, these are not just like, hey, what's your rates?
Right. What can you do for the client?
Yeah.
What can you do for our customer?
We are also a heavily surveyed company. So we survey, I don't know, it's like at least 7 surveys. And the mortgage portion of it, although we don't have our own mortgage company, their experience with the lenders that we are promoting and putting in front of our customers is also heavily surveyed. So I believe the expectation is it's definitely over a 90%.
Oh, right. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
like it has to be like they have to score 90% or more on the satisfaction of their experience.
Right.
And then one thing that we do too is, again, it's not a Beazer mortgage, so we aren't double dipping, we aren't making money off of the home, then turn around and selling the loan. So we're really just working with these companies that we've worked with for a while that understand appraisal, because new construction is different when it comes to appraisals than resale. I would say that one more time, but so we want to work with companies that understand how new construction works, and quite frankly, who can get us to the closing table whenever we deliver that closing date. Like, we want that to be the date that they actually close. So we hold these lenders pretty accountable to that date as well too. So anyways, long story short, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. How often would you say, I mean, so we've got a few minutes left here. We talked a little bit ago about your price increases. I'd like to wrap up talking about tactically, what do you have left in Hampshire? Again, are there any price increases coming up? How many lots do you have left in your current section, Marybeth? And then I have another group of questions that's pretty easy and straightforward, but it'll be good to close. So let's talk about that first.
So for me, I have 6 home sites left. So we actually had to bring in some new floor plans to make sure that we were accommodating the needs. So we have 6 floor plans left. We have 6 home sites left, 6 floor plans that we can build on any of those home sites. And then we have 5 inventory or showcase homes. A lot of people call them spec homes. So, we're down to, at the pace that we're selling, probably being out of there, nearly done as far as selling goes. I'd say I would be shocked if it went past the end of this year. So as far as price increases, I don't know. I would say it's probably fair to expect them. Again, we're kind of at the back end where supply and demand for us. So I do imagine that we'll see some more price increases, but I couldn't tell you what they would be.
Yeah, and that's something that is sent down from corporate. So we never know ahead of time, to be quite honest with you.
It's our favorite email to get.
And in West Rail, we just opened again our section 3. We have section 3 open now, hoping to pull permits within the next probably couple weeks and start the build process, but we've already sold several already. I think we have 44 home sites in that section, and then we are actually starting to move dirt in our section 4, just to kind of, being that the need is there, we've seen it. We already sold so many before we even had streets in, that we've decided to go ahead and start our next section, and that should be coming in the next month or 2, or at the latest maybe springtime. So Yeah, we'll have another 33 home sites in there. And again, we have lake lots, private, common area, wooded.
Yeah, arguably some of probably the best variety of home
Yeah.
sites in that community.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. as
And
far
I
as
don't
the-
think we illustrated this earlier, but what's the price point that we're looking at for both of these communities?
Budget. See, we always eventually ask what the budget is. For us, we start in the mid 300s. They're basically 350 as a starting price point. And then at the top end, including anything added on. So, if you wanted a basement, depending on home site that you would pick, say for us at the top end, we might be getting into the mid to the higher fours. It was important to us that we stayed kind of that lower price point in Zionsville, so I don't anticipate us hopping into the fives
Right.
over the next handful of sales. But
And
I mean, we
won't,
don't. People can do whatever they want, I guess, when it comes to building their home. But
And I've got one ranch that starts at 334.99, I believe, and then we go up to topping out. Same thing with Leigh-Brooke, about the middle, like 450, somewhere around there. But that's including a basement. That's including
that's on the high end.
That's on the high end.
Yeah.
So our sweet spot is really like
our average is
375, maybe up to 4.
Yep, and my average I think is pretty consistently about 10 to 15 more than Westfield is. A lot of that is just the price that we can garner for Zionsville schools.
Sure.
So we tend to, if you're doing a new build, living somewhere around the high threes for most people. And most people in my community aren't adding basements. I'd say it's one
I
out of
don't have
10
a lot in
homes.
mine either.
Yes.
Really? Is
Yeah.
that, I mean, do you think that that's partially because of budget being a contributing factor? Like it's more expensive to add a basement than doing the upgrades throughout the main and upper?
I think everybody wants a basement. I don't think everyone needs a basement. So I do think, budgeting is a constraint. I also think you have to kind of look at where you live in the community. Obviously, like we speak to resell because we want people to understand they are buying something that they can, should they have to move, they will be able to sell later. So for us, it's just not from the get-go been something. All of our plans could have a basement. Right. It's not often people choose them. Right. So for resale, we're not trying to push people into just spending more money just because they think they need to spend it.
And I think in West Rail, to be honest with you, I think the third car garage option is probably the most important, to be honest, in our area. And I think really our new floor plans have that. They have giant lofts and studies and things like that I think most of the clients need every day. And back in the day when we had basements and when I was growing up, it was like, let's finish the basement and put the kids, down there to play or to do whatever. Nowadays, I think it's really upstairs. It's
under the roof. Yeah.
Under the roof. It's number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, the study, the gourmet kitchen. I think it's everyday living is what they really want now, and not necessarily in hopes of finishing a basement down the road. So I think that's what we're seeing. I think I maybe only have 20 homes that are in there, might have a basement of all.
Yeah, I'm always like, fact check me, drive around. If you see a step up, there's a basement, and you won't see very many of them. So
that's fascinating, but it's great. It's great to hear that insight, especially since, those are the clients, like what you said, you do a lot of surveys. So I'd like to end on why should a client choose to work with Beazer, and what is your number one piece of advice for them?
Wow. Okay. That's a lot. That's a big one. I mean, I will speak to our quality. Again, I think you said that production builds may get a bum rap sometimes. Before I came to work at Beazer, like I had mentioned earlier, there was another builder I was looking at. And I mean, I always kind of talk in third party or try to tell, stories based off of my own personal experience. I do own a home, so I'm a landlord, so I understand what it takes to keep a roof over your head and what it takes to own a home. So before I took this job, my dad was the city electrical inspector for my hometown. And so I was like, Dad, you got to go walk all of these homes. Like, I cannot tell people these are nice homes. I can't tell people they're well built. Like, they're going to be raising their families. I can't tell them they're nice if they're not. So my dad, Bob Mckinniss, walked, I don't even know how many homes in a couple of different communities and did his city inspector. And he did that for our Beazer, and then the other company that I was looking at. And he was like, hands down, by far, like these homes are being built to a code that wasn't the standard for Indiana because of the Energy Star certification. We, for a long time, have been had to find another code that was from a different state that was more progressive. So we've been ahead of many other builders as far as efficiency, Energy Star standards, just quality and durability. Yeah. So that would be my thing. I think if you walk one of our homes and then walk a competitor's home, I would say they're built better. And the materials we use, the steps that we take, the QA processes, you know, we are very busy and our volume is much higher, but we've not let the QA process slip. And I'm super proud of that. So.
And I've built every home that my parents lived in, they built. I've built every home I've lived in. So I have the experience there. My mom was also in this industry for a long time. As a matter of fact, our division president was my mom's builder fresh out of college, way back in the
That's hilarious.
Early 90s. So we go way back, and I've worked with other builders as well prior to joining Beazer, and hands down, I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in the value and the quality that we have in our homes. I can't speak highly enough about it. It's the communication, it's our team.
Builders are awesome.
They are. Everybody works together.
And we're not perfect, but we want to make it right. And again, like I said, we're heavily surveyed. We over communicate. I just, you know, I know this sounds corny, but you know, every Monday, our company, our division shares comments from surveys that we get from our homeowners, whether that's
everybody gets those, including the CEO.
That's true. Yes, the CEO of our
He
company, Alan. Hi, Alan.
Right.
He reads all of these surveys. And so we shout those out company-wide because it's important to us that we understand that, like, the first meeting with me, you know, it's surveyed. You want a good experience. The contract is a good experience. The midway of construction is a good experience. And I don't, oftentimes people will say, like, it was a delightful experience. Like, how do you take something that is seemingly pretty on paper stressful and then have someone say, like, hey, this was a delight, or we enjoy this experience, or we can, you know, we'll be back for more. So I mean, we're
very selective in the number of communities that we have, the land that we buy, the number of homes that we produce every year. We're not going to just, you know, roll out 500 homes in a year. We want
quality.
It's quality, and it is value, and I stand behind that 100%.
Our core mission statements is durability and quality and providing value to our homeowners. So, yeah.
That's great. Okay. Short and sweet. What's one piece of advice you would give to a client who's considering building their first new home?
I mean, you know, I would say, you know, do your homework, do your research.
Right.
You know, I think it's very similar experience to resell. You need to understand your location, where you need to be. And I think it's okay to shop around. Like, we tell people, like, hey, like, oh, we're the first builder, where are you going next? Like, shop around, do your homework. If you have the opportunity to know someone who's built before, ask them about their experience. You know, get that third party story so you know what to ask and what to look for when your home is being built. And you have anything else you'd add to that?
No.
Yeah, just do your homework.
Yeah.
Yep.
Research.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Leigh, so much for your time. I want to be respectful of your evening. For those of you with questions, please feel free to reach out to the link that I will provide in this post, and I will connect you with Leigh-Brooke and Marybeth accordingly. Or if you have questions about other Beazer communities, I'm happy to direct you accordingly. But thank you again, ladies, for your time, and I will see you all next week, next Thursday at 7 p.m. here on Facebook.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Bye.